Hey! Oh my goodness. Welcome everybody to this Harry Potter event extraordinaire. We are here, gathered here in the great hall of the internet to discuss all things Harry Potter, specifically the Hogwarts houses. And I'm joined by the ever incredible Emma from Fan City Central, and we are going to do a deep dive into the history of Hogwarts, or I should say Hogwarts a history, by looking into each of the incredible houses that we've come to know and love via the books and the movies and the plays, and see what maybe the animals can tell us even more about the house characteristics. But Emma, did you want to say hi to everybody and give a brief introduction to you and kind of your area of expertise in the Harry Potter verse?
Yeah, so I'm not sure I would call myself an expert, although I am a massive fan. But also, hi, Grace. We see you. So yeah, I have Fan City Central is my YouTube channel. This screen is backwards. It's right there. And I basically talk all things fandom. A lot of Harry Potter, a lot of Netflix, a lot of CW shows, 2000s rom-coms, everything like that. So yeah, that's the best part of my day is I just get to fangirl with everybody all day. So
woohoo! And you get to do some amazing interviews as well with the cast. Like those have been some of my favorite videos of yours, of getting behind the scenes, asking like the actors the questions and interacting with them. That's really cool too.
Thank you. That is definitely one of my favorite parts for sure. I love having those conversations. And yeah, last year I got a lot of really cool interviews. So that was very exciting. I mean, I missed the prime of Harry Potter, but that's fine.
But the legacy lives on because, do you know, if I had a time turner, actually, I do have a time turner, but I've packed it.
I do too.
You do?
I do. I don't have the real one though. I have like a knockoff. I really, really want like the actual necklace because it's so beautiful.
Well, this is rather embarrassing, and I hope my mother's not watching. So I came to England to study like 6 years ago. Wow, I feel old. So we arrived in England. I did not have an accommodation to stay in. Sorry, guys, we're going into story time with Shelby really quick. I had no accommodation because I got into the school in London. I was on the waiting list and they literally called me like 3 weeks before the course and said, surprise, you're on the course. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. So I had no place to live, right? My mom and I came over and that's a whole other funny story in itself because she didn't really want to come. And she actually, her visa, or I was waiting for my visa, so she had her come before me, and she was in London on her own.
I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, though.
It was nuts. Anyway, so we get here, and literally the second day, she was like, oh, did you want to do some sightseeing, before we, find you a place to live? As one does. Surely we'd go try to find a house first. Oh, no. I was like, no, we're going to the Harry Potter studio tour, man. We got on that bus in central London. She was like, what am I doing? And I was like, we're going, we're getting this done. And she's not a fan at all. I lost my mind and I splurged buying the authentic time turner.
Yes, as you should. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to one day go to the studio tour. Like I've been to the Wizarding World in Florida, but I cannot wait to go to the studio tour one day.
Dude. And speaking of the studio tour, I was chatting with my friend earlier, Emma, who is in the chat, and her daughters as well. My gosh, she knows the studio very well. But alas, spoilers for that one. But yeah, my time turner, I didn't eat for like a few days because I had spent too much of my pocket money on that time turner.
I mean, worth it.
But I see so many friends in the audience. Oh my God, hi everybody. Oh, the trouble crew.
Harry Potter is truly universal. It just brings everyone together. I love that.
It does. And like that's why we're here at the Great Hall of the Interwebs. Apologies for that diversion. As many of you know, because I see a lot of friends, I get distracted easily. So we had a story time with Shelby, but alas, just to let you guys know, we are in fact actually going to be talking some cool stuff today about animals, but also the Hogwarts houses and what they can tell us about each other and what we can learn from that. So, Miss Emma, I would love if you could give us an introduction into the best house there is, because we're not unbiased here in this live stream. Not at all. Would you give us some insight into the house that rules them all?
I thought you would never ask, Shelby. I did, in fact, wear my Gryffindor t-shirt today because we are both Gryffindors here.
Yes!
Sorry to the rest of the houses. We love you guys, but, you know, I feel like it's very Gryffindor to just say, I mean, we're the best house. Like,
well, yeah. I know Ken's a Slytherin and Alice, you're a Slytherin, but, you know, it's all about Gryffindor.
It looks like Jack here is a Ravenclaw. We've got lots of representation in the comments. This is great.
Oh, and Starkey, my cat, she's a Hufflepuff, so she should come in the room and represent Hufflepuff. Yeah, Starkey. Wait, do we have any dreamies? No, I don't have any dreamies. But anyways, please tell us, give us some insight into the Gryffindor house.
Yes. Okay, so obviously Godric Gryffindor is our founder, our king.
I feel like I should salute for that.
we should come up with some sort of signal. Bravery, helping others, chivalry. These are all of our traits, which I love. We have Nearly Headless Nick as our ghost. We love because he's sassy and amazing. And Gryffindor was actually the original owner of the Sorting Hat. I don't know if anyone else knows that, but I thought that was a very cool fact. It was actually his hat that he wore. And then they took it off and they imbued it with all this magic to sort the students when they were gone. That was cool. Gryffindor also corresponds to the element of fire, which makes sense based on, you know, all of us and the red hair and the Weasleys. And, and rubies are our house stone, which I thought was interesting. So that's actually the stone that's in the, when they calculate the house points, it's in the tubes or whatever, it's full of rubies in there, and it's also on our Gryffindor sword, which is cool.
That classic sword, boy. I feel okay, Rita. Yeah, Hogwarts is massively biased towards Gryffindor because it's the best, but also like I feel like there is a bias because our three main heroes of the story, and maybe four if you include Neville, because he's awesome. You know, they had to be kind of centered. It does feel but that's why opportunities like this where we can all come together, you know, various households, because I think Rita might actually be a Hufflepuff, you know, all are represented here. And that's what it's all about, coming together.
Exactly. And if at the end of Harry Potter taught us anything, it is that we all need to value each other's houses. So, I mean, we are the best, but that is just the Gryffindor in me, okay? So realistically, we're all family here.
If you're not house proud, what are you?
Exactly. Gotta rep your house proudly. Yes.
Well, as we know, friends, Gryffindor is symbolized by the lion. And alas, for the animal comparison, it should come as no surprise that I'm going to compare us to, well, a lion. However, I know, you're all shocked. I'll give you a moment to compose your shockedness. Oh my gosh, Grace, does that mean you're a Gryffindor too? Because she just said that we're the best.
Grace, you're a Gryffindor too? I love that. Oh.
Excellent. But alas, friends, let us take a look at the Asiatic lion. Yes, that's right. Okay. All lions don't just live in Africa. There is an Asiatic lion as well.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. And they're endangered, which is sad. But I should preface, I did tell y'all before this that it is going to be kind of a conservation-themed live stream. I didn't realize this until like 2 minutes ago when I was like, my gosh.
We love a conservation live stream. Give us the facts so we can help save these animals.
Exactly. So it may be a little depressing at times to hear what we've done for these amazing animals, but rest assured, there is hope because they are amazing. Yeah. So the Asiatic lion is endangered, but the craziest thing about these guys is that they are only found in one specific place in India, even though they used to be widespread, even from like, you know, way far away in even parts of Africa, Greece, and Turkey, and other parts of Asia. They are now only limited to the Gir forest in India. That's it.
That sounds like they had such a life before we got there.
Right. Now, this habitat of the Gir forest is actually smaller than the region known as Greater London. So you have like the city of London, which is relatively quite small, but then Greater London, including kind of all the boroughs and stuff outside. The Gir forest is smaller than that.
Wow.
Pretty sad. Who is that? I heard a cat. Oh, it's a Maui, sir. Maui's also a Gryffindor.
He's on the right team.
He's very cheeky. Did you come up because you heard we were talking about Gryffindors? Yes. Good boy. Maybe the other cats will come up when we start talking about their houses. Anyways, back to the lions. I know you think you're a lion, but we should probably talk about some of the differences between Asiatic and African lions.
Yeah,
mostly it's size when it comes to the difference. Obviously, where they live, you know, one's in Africa and one's in Asia. But Asiatic lions are generally smaller than the African counterparts per se. But they still, what I find funny is when I say smaller, the males still weigh up to 190 kilograms. That doesn't seem quite small. Almost 200 kilograms. That's a massive cat. I mean, Maui, how much do you weigh? Do you mind if I share how much you weigh? He's the biggest cat. He weighs about 4.5 kilograms.
Yeah, that's a bit of a difference. Yeah.
That's a lot of Mauis. Yeah. And they are almost 3 meters from the tip of their nose to the end of their tail. So they are actually rather impressive in size still. So when I say smaller, don't think like cute little houses. Probably the other big difference between Asiatic and African lions is like their social structure. So when we think, you know, African lions, we have, you know, you love Disney as well. The Lion King, of course, comes to mind. We see them in a pride. Asiatic lions really don't do that. The males kind of tend to not hang around the females as much unless there's like a big kill or to kind of get their attention. What else? Oh, their manes. Yes. So the mane of when we see our Gryffindor symbol, the mane is rather impressive. Like it's super boosh. It feels like my hair when you know it's it's humid out.
I feel like you would do a really great Luna cosplay actually with that headpiece on.
You know, that would be so fun. I actually think one of our friends who's watching loves Luna as well. And I think that would be cool. I feel like I could pull that off.
I think you could. I think we should see it.
I think,
Maybe
yeah. For Halloween! Yes! Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be so exciting. Yeah, because we can actually, hopefully, fingers crossed, have Halloween this year. Yes. I should try that. But like the mane, that's what I was talking about. I was like, how did we get all my hair? The manes of the Asiatic lions are darker and smaller than the African lions. But I pushed my hair back because you can see their ears. So even though their manes aren't as big and bushy like the African lions, you can still see their ears, which I find pretty interesting. I don't know why that's cool, but I was like, never thought about that. And
I love that. I saw a comment on, I was reading like stories on the Wizarding World website, or what used to be Pottermore, for this. And I thought it was so interesting that they said that the lion was the symbol of Gryffindor because, I mean, obviously the lion is brave and loyal and all of that, and we associate it with that. But they also brought up the fact that they live in prides and like they take care of one another and they're like loyal in that way too, which I never even thought about that side of it. So that was kind of cool too.
Oh, so maybe they're more like the African lion, yeah, because the pride aspect, because it is very like community driven. Like there's that scene in, you know, with the Quidditch. Obviously, everybody's quite intense with their Quidditch, but you know, Weasley is our king, and they're all kind of gathered around in the common room.
Yeah, I love that. But I love the. Wait, how do you say it? The Asiatic lion?
Asiatic, yeah.
I love that because it's kind of. I feel like there definitely had to be some Gryffindors that were, you know what, they wanted more of their space, you know, and I like that. And we also get to learn more about them. So
that's true. And I think I guess probably the other thing, well, it could be for both like Asiatic and African lions. But when I think of Gryffindors, I mean, I know everybody who's not a Gryffindor in the comments. I see you. I see what you're writing. But alas, you know, we do kind of pick fights, whether that be because we're quite bold. But luckily, our manes help us if we get into fights. We are protected because, yeah, they look cool. But also, like, if another lion or another, you know, Slytherin is attacking us, like, the mane will protect our neck. So
is that what that's for? That is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, so they look good, but they're, like, actually have a purpose, too.
Oh, okay, they're like a built-in shield. No wonder we're dumb and brave. We're like, we're good.
What else? I'd probably say this is not an endearing quality of us Gryffindors, I would say. But
so reflection, we got going.
It's always good to evaluate one's habitats. But I feel I'm quite the procrastinator. I do like to, maybe put things off until the last minute. I'm not thinking of anything in particular at the moment. But I don't know if that's a general quality of Gryffindors because we just have so many other things going on, or maybe it's just me.
No, I think so. I should ask my group chat. I'm in this group chat called it's called the Gryffindor Girl Gang, and we're all Gryffindors. And I feel like that might be a trait because we are so busy. Because I feel like we have all so much going on that sometimes we just overwhelm ourselves and we're like, I don't even know where to start or what to do today. But we always get it done in the end. We're like, well, we committed to this. We got to do it. But
Yeah. And, when things get overwhelming, we sleep for, most of the day like lions do, because generally they are only active about 4 hours of the day. Which I know is a loose thread, but I figured, they take it chill and steady and they sleep. Maybe they're procrastinating, but then when they are active, they make the most of it. I'm trying to spin a positive light on it, but I don't think it's working.
That's true. It reminds me a bit of Ron, I
like that.
He always gets his papers done, but he procrastinates a bit. Ken has a cool question here.
Oh, Ken. Always sending in the whoppers, Ken does. Oh, dear.
Asiatic lion versus African lion. Is there a strength difference?
Ooh, that is very good. I would say in that regard, I don't think they've ever gone head-to-head in a fight. However, knowing that size typically does matter in instances such as fighting for dominance and such, I would probably lean more towards the African lion just because their sheer size in comparison to the Asiatic lion, just their heaviness and weight. But again, the Asiatic lion still is a massive cat with, the big paws for swiping and stuff. And maybe if they got lucky, maybe because they are smaller, they're a bit more dexterous and such. But I would put my props going to the African lion for strength just because of sheer bulkiness. But very good question, Ken. Very good question.
That's interesting. Also, Jack, I have to address this. He says, why has there not been a Harry Potter TV series? Warner Brothers must be cooking something up. I don't know if they are. Nothing has been confirmed. There have been rumors, but nothing has actually been confirmed yet. And to be honest, I don't know how I feel about that yet. I would love a Harry Potter series, but it would have to be done so right. So...
yes, and Emma's brought up a fabulous point as well about Fantastic Beasts. They're focusing on that.
Yes, this is true. We're getting more of those movies as well, which is also interesting. I personally like them as standalone movies. I don't like them in the same vein as the Harry Potter universe because I'm not sure that they make sense in canon. I don't know if anyone else feels this way in the comments. But once they started bringing McGonagall and Dumbledore and everything else into this, it kind of lost me a little bit. I was like, wait a second, what timeline are we in right now? But they are really cool, and I love getting to see all the different creatures.
Speaking of the timeline, when you said that, I immediately jumped to Ezra Miller as the Flash and just thinking, oh my gosh, how often is the Flash going to mess up the timeline?
That's a good point. I feel like that's his only personality trait at this point.
Oh my gosh. And hey, Roland, I see you've joined us. Welcome. We are just making our way through the Hogwarts houses and comparing the real life animal icon to the Harry Potter verse and trying back and forth to see what else can we learn about the Hogwarts houses. So feel free to let us know what house you are in. There's quite a nice mix in the chats at the moment between Hufflepuff, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor. We've just talked about the Gryffindor house, the best one in our opinion, and the Asiatic line, raising some awareness of this endangered animal that is well worth a second look at for sure, because they are incredible. Even though they're a bit smaller than the African counterpart, they are incredible nonetheless, and only found in one place on this planet, which is crazy. That is the Gir Forest in India. Now, my dear, I would love for you, Miss Emma, who is from Fan City Central. She knows her stuff for sure. Please, we are going to go into the Hufflepuff house next.
I love Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff is my second house. Like, I feel like if I were to be in a different house, it would definitely be Hufflepuff. I think I'm on the borderline of Gryffindor and Hufflepuff here. So Hufflepuff, founder Helga Hufflepuff, loyalty, hard work, patience, fairness. We love all of this. The ghost is the Fat Friar, and he's just joyful and lovely. And a couple interesting facts about Hufflepuff. So Helga Hufflepuff founded it, and she was actually very skilled at cooking, and a lot of her recipes are still used in the Great Hall dinners today, which is very cool. And she was also the one to give the house elves their job in the kitchens, which is super cute. So I love that because I'm a massive fan of the house elves. Forever bitter they left them out of the movies. Hufflepuff corresponds to the element of earth. And their common room is cozy, round, has tunnels, and low ceilings. So it's actually pretty close to what like a badger's den would be like. I think you can comment on that. But I thought that was interesting. And their yellow and black colors are supposed to represent wheat and soil, which I thought was interesting, and I didn't know that before. So yeah, they're just like lovely people. Cedric is one of my faves too. I think we got a good group with the Hufflepuffs here.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys and the comments as well. You know, poor Hufflepuffs get such like very interesting reputation, for lack of a better word. It seems they're the butt of all jokes. You know, nobody takes them seriously, but alas, you really did say, you know, when you mentioned their housing arrangements with the tunnels, you know, that is very symbolic of the badger. And
yeah, I love that I think that everyone kind of takes them for granted a little bit because maybe one of their main traits is like kindness and like loyalty. And that just makes me think of like Cinderella, and no one really loves her as a princess. And I'm just like, but like kindness is such a big strength to have. To be that kind and that loyal to your friends truly is a very like, it's a big strength to have. So I feel like it's coming up, especially with TikTok. Now we're seeing all the Hufflepuffs and Slytherin BFF TikToks. So I feel like they're coming up there.
Yeah, and I think you really did say that with the kindness being a strength, and especially, you know, if you are a Hufflepuff and you are, you know, the butt of all the jokes, you know, to still be kind and, you know, still put up with it and still have a smile on your face. That's truly impressive.
Yeah, exactly. But tell us about the badger here, because I want to hear all about it. I know nothing about badgers.
Well, there's not just one species of badger, and I did cheat a little bit. With this one, I want to tell you guys about two different species of badger. One, because it's funny, because it's kind of not really like a Hufflepuff, but it's still a fun badger to talk about. And then, of course, we'll talk about the European badger, which is probably more of the homely, kind badger that is represented in the Hufflepuff emblem. I do want to start off by talking about the honey badger. Well, when I was talking about it with my husband, we were like, okay, badgers, we got to talk about the honey badger because they're totally not like Hufflepuffs.
Oh my god, I feel like the honey badger is the Hufflepuff when Slytherin eggs it on to do something.
Yes, yeah. The button has been pressed too many times. So we're laughing, friends, if you don't know, the honey badger, yes, exactly, Rita. The honey badger doesn't care whatsoever. They do have quite the temper, which, again, is why we're laughing, because we find it amusing, because it's completely not what one thinks when you think of Hufflepuff, per se, unless it's like the Battle of Hogwarts. So it's funny you mentioned, you know, kindness and, you know, Hufflepuffs having the bad reputation. Well, not bad reputation, but, you know, they get made fun of.
Yeah.
That made me think of the expression thick skin. You know, you got to toughen up. And the honey badger does that. Okay, let's put aside their temperament for a moment. The honey badger has such thick skin that it can resist dog bites, porcupine quills, bee stings, you name it, they can handle it. Which is why I thought, actually, that does remind me a lot of the Hufflepuffs, because they can put up with that.
Yeah.
And they're so kind.
I love that. Wow. Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think of one's skin, but alas, there we are. And to throw in a curveball with you mentioning Slytherin, our friends in Slytherin, they appear to be even resistant to snake venom.
Interesting. That's why they're all best friends with this Slytherin.
Yeah, because they can put up with it.
I love that. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Who knew? They are truly honey badgers deep down, you Hufflepuff. But another aspect that I thought of honey badgers with regards to being Hufflepuffs is that resourcefulness. You know, they are very kind, but I think the Hufflepuffs that I'm familiar with, my friends who are, I feel like they're very resourceful, and honey badgers are as well. When it comes to like making and finding homes, like they'll reuse stuff. They're really good at recycling. So like old termite mounds or dens of other animals, they'll recycle that and turn that into their home.
Oh, that's so good. We love a conscientious shopper in 2021.
And well, you also mentioned the food. I should probably mention what the honey badger eats. Obviously, you know, they get their name because it appears like they like honey, but it's actually like the larva of the ants that they're after. But anyways, they also love juicy fruits. They eat carrion, which is, you know, dead stuff. And they'll even eat reptiles. So they have quite a wide variety of diet, which I feel suits quite nicely, seeing, as you said, Helga Hufflepuff was in charge of the kitchens and stuff with the wide variety of meals.
Yeah, interesting. So it is cool to see that all of these animals kind of line up, especially when you look at their individual traits and like how that works. That's cool.
Yeah.
So then what about the original badger? The actual, was the European badger?
Yeah, I'd probably say based on like the appearance of what they look like in a lot of the emblems and icons is the honey badger, is the European badger. And they are actually the largest land predator here in the UK. And they'll, speaking of food, they'll eat worms, they'll eat small mammals, they'll eat fruit. But the craziest thing about these earthworms, right? Apparently, they'll eat several hundred in a night if they can find them. And so that like makes me think of like the Hufflepuffs like not eating away, nomming away in the kitchens. You know, I have a feeling they may be a bit cheeky.
Yeah, I like that too.
Getting some midnight snackage. But you did also mention the burrows, how they kind of live in like little tunnels and stuff. And you were spot on with that, my dear, with their little homes. They're called a set, S-E-T-T. And a badger set, you can tell if it's occupied because they're actually quite clean and tidy, surprisingly. So they'll have quite the clean doorway, but then it'll be marked by piles of like leaves and hay, which is like their used bedding. So they'll put it in little piles just outside their house, which is really cute.
That's so cute. Honestly, when I think of a badger and like a Hufflepuff, I know that they're beavers in Narnia, but it makes me think of the beavers in Narnia and like how they had their little house and everything was sorted and they were so nice to like Lucy and all of that. And I'm just like, yeah, that seems like it would track.
Yeah, very polite, very clean, very tidy. Oh, I'm so excited you brought up Narnia. I do want to mention Roland earlier in the comments. He was mentioning the Phoenix, about talking about the Phoenix. I do want to say to all of our friends, Emma and I have quite the overlap of fandom loves and things we love indeed. And so I wouldn't surprise me, Roland, if we do another one of these looking at the more magical creatures like the Phoenix and diving into the mythology kind of around the world and things like that. Not to throw you on the spot, Emma, or anything, but
no, I would love that because honestly, like all the facts you know about the animals, it just reminds me of Newt. So I feel like it would be a miss if we did not do a live stream about like the Fantastic Beasts or something, and we just pick some beasts from all over the world and talk about the mythology and how they relate to now and everything. I think that would be really cool.
That would be so fun. And it actually, I'm trying to think if I have my Doctor Who cosplay, because I did dress up, because Matt Smith is one of my favorite doctors. I did do like a female version cosplay for him, and it was one of my favorite Halloween costumes. And I don't think I have it, but like when you said Newt, it made me think of the bow tie and stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find it for one of these ones rather than my old surf hoodie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like we should do like a Harry Potter party on Halloween or something and have everyone dress up and just talk about mythology and all of our pop culture love.
Oh, that would be so much fun. So many exciting things, and Narnia, hopefully, as well. It's just amazing what we can find by looking into pulp culture. I do want to say,
I can relate to the animals too that way.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to look at the mythology of like how we had dragons and now we kind of have like reptiles and lizards and how that all transitions. Very cool. But yes, the next.
Let me open up that can of worms for you, matey.
We are hungry. We are hungry. Yes. What house did you want to do next? Oh, Ravenclaw, right?
Well, I do want to say to all of our friends who maybe are new and joining us, welcome. I'm Shelby from Shelby on Safari, and I have Emma from Fan City Central, and we are going through the Harry Potter Hogwarts house icons of the animals and seeing what real-life animal they're like and what we can learn from them, and just having a fun Harry Potter chat. So if you're joining us, let us know in the chat comments what house you're a part of. We've already covered Gryffindor and the Asiatic lion, and we've just wrapped up the Hufflepuffs with both the honey badger and European badger. And up next is the house where we have actually quite a few in the audience, including a Miss Layla, and I think Jack was one as well. Ravenclaw house.
Ravenclaw, Luna, my love. So our founder, Rowena Ravenclaw, of course, values intelligence, knowledge, planning ahead, and wit. And our ghost is the Grey Lady, which, honestly, that whole story just gets me. It is very traumatic. But anyway, that's a different ghost story problem. So Ravenclaw corresponds to the element of air, and blue and bronze are their house colors, which represent the sky and the eagle feathers, because their animal is an eagle, not a raven, which everyone and their mother under the sun gets wrong. So if you guys are in the comments, I hear you, Ravenclaw. I see you. We are talking about eagles today. Don't worry. So yeah, the eagle is like a symbol of strength and immortality. And the eagle is actually linked to gods like Zeus and Odin, which I thought was very interesting too. And I didn't really look too further into that, but I do think it's interesting because I love all things mythology, like Percy Jackson and the Vikings and all that too. So it is interesting to see that is a connection there.
Yeah.
So I really don't know why. I mean, an eagle. I guess an eagle itself would not be considered intelligent. So I guess that makes sense. It's like together with Zeus, but I'm just like, I don't know why. Because when I think Zeus, I do not think intelligence.
True, with his making his way around Olympus and whatnot.
That might just be the Percy Jackson fan in me being biased, but I am not a fan of that man.
Oh, man, I'm chuckling to myself here. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the chat lately, but Alice and Ken have caught me out. Now, I am going to be honest with you, Alice. The entire reason why I put Slytherin last was so you had to watch the whole live stream.
Yeah, it was definitely not because we're both Gryffindors and we wanted to put it last. There was a whole situation. We thought about this. Okay.
Yeah. Audience retention, isn't that right, Ken? Got to make sure you guys last till the very end. So we're gonna drag out this Ravenclaw exploration. Oh wait, I think Emma from Studio 77 is actually a Ravenclaw as well. So yeah, we have quite a few Ravenclaws in the audience, guys, and I'd be curious to know, as Ravenclaws, if you did think that the Raven, don't worry, no judging here. But if you did think the Raven was your house symbol, or if you knew, because obviously you guys are far more intelligent than we are, that it was indeed an eagle. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes, she is one. Fabulous. But Roland actually had a really good point, Emma, that it is an eagle, but Ravenclaw does sound a lot cooler than Eagleclaw, and I have to agree with him. I can see.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think people definitely get confused because that's her name, right? Like that's the founder's name, Rowena Ravenclaw. But then they think, because they hear Ravenclaw and it's a name, they think of the bird. So then a lot of like shops and stuff put the Raven on merch. So I know the Ravenclaws definitely have issues finding proper merch that has their symbol on it that is an eagle, not a raven. So I definitely feel you guys on that. If you are in the fandom, you're trying to find your merch. Hit me up if you want some suggestions, because I do have some like Etsy shops and things you can go to that have proper merch for you. Because I think that the big box stores don't care, so they just put ravens on everything. It's like, no, we're gonna talk about an eagle.
So excited now to go back when things, fingers crossed, kind of are safe to do so, to go back to Oxford. I love the city of Oxford, and they have, because it's very Harry Potter themed, and I think they did use some of the colleges and universities there for some of the scenes. They have a lot of Harry Potter shops, and so I would love to go in with my keen eye and be like,
that's wrong.
Got it out now for all my Ravenclaws in the house.
Yes. yes.
It sounds best when you overly exaggerate a rolling R. Ravenclaw. Oh, that is true.
Like the Sorting Hat, yeah.
Fair enough.
I thought it was a giant crow.
Okay, well, I have to say, before we start bashing on, well, we already have been, the bashing of the raven, and the crow versus, the eagle, I will say, even though their symbol is an eagle, the raven, if it was their actual symbol, that's not that bad of an animal to be, especially for y'all Ravenclaws who are really intelligent. They are super crazy smart. They're in the Covidae family. And shameless plug alert, I did a video looking at ravens, part of last Halloween's series on spooky animals and misrepresented kind of animals and folklore mythology. If I remember, I'll put the link to that in the description down below to that playlist, because I looked at wolves and other animals as well. But that's the raven cool. is super cool.
Because I know that crows are quite smart. And they like recognize friends and stuff and people, don't they? So I just think that's cool as well. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, Jack, you're totally right. Yeah, they are pretty epic and super smart. So it's not a bad animal to have on your animal icon, even though it's not your real one. But yes, it is an eagle. And in fact, I'd like to say it is the golden eagle, to be specific. I did find a few sources that just said generic eagle, and then some said golden eagle. I'm not sure if you found anything more solid proof in your research, Emma.
I think it goes back and forth on everything that I found too. So I'm not sure if it's like one or the other yet.
Yeah, so I decided we'll say it's the golden eagle, because the colors as well, like you were saying, kind of the bronze coloration reminds me more of the golden eagle. Odd tidbit about the golden eagle: they are in fact the national bird of Mexico.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I know, really cool. And they are found. Well, it should come as no surprise then that they are found in Mexico, but throughout most of the West Coast, my neck of the woods of North America, as well as Asia, North Africa, and then obviously here in Europe. And they were important to many Native American tribes who admired the two characteristics that one associates with the golden eagle: courage and strength, which sounds more to me like Gryffindor, but alas, we'll go with it, because I bet you Ravenclaws are courageous too, by being very studious, being mentally strong, of tough will and whatnot.
Plus, we also saw Luna. Luna is so brave. We love a queen.
That's true, Miss Lovegood. Quite the hootenanny. But alas, I would say the most striking aspect of the golden eagle, which could be said for kind of any bird of prey, I know, but that they are observant. When I think of Ravenclaws, and my husband's a Ravenclaw, he's very, very observant. And I'd be keen, if you're a Ravenclaw, Jack, Emma, and Layla, if you guys are very observant, because I feel like you guys would be like the golden eagle and like soaring through the sky, looking out for prey. I hope you're not like looking for prey, but like looking out for food, just checking the scene, or sitting high up in a tree, keeping an eye out. And then when you do see an opportunity or prey, you swoop down super fast at speeds of more than 150 miles per hour they can reach, just by dropping out of the sky and catch prey or that opportunity that has come your way.
That sounds very Ravenclaw to me.
I tried to make that like super subtle.
Oh, shit.
Oh yes, Luna rules. Yes, she does indeed.
Agreed.
But yeah,
She's
I,
fantastic.
yeah, I'd say the observant aspect of Ravenclaws is very keen because they do have a keen eye, whether that be, you know, for books or whatever it is, or if it's cool new cameras. Like Jack, he's really technical into his cameras. I bet Jack could like spot like if something was askew on one of the cameras or one of the lighting things. He'd be like straight away. He'd know.
Yeah, and one of their other traits is planning ahead too. So there you go. All the observant.
Yeah, so they know where to find the right air thermals, you know, to get the best lift. I should say that they're prey because we have been mentioning prey, you know, where they swoop down. They do get, you know, small mammals and things such as that because they do have quite the impressive talons as birds of prey. But going to the conservation aspect, friends, it is very sad with golden eagle and birds of prey. And here in the UK, they were really widespread until about, I'd say, like 1850. My sources were saying that they were actually exterminated from England and Wales, like completely wiped out, which is never a fun thing. And it has been recovering, but more in Scotland. Now, since 2003, they have increased little by little. In fact, a breeding pair was recently seen in the Lake District here in England, so that was really exciting. And yeah, they were just widely killed because that was the thing to do, I suppose, back in the day. And as if they couldn't have it bad enough just by being killed and exterminated. In the 1950s and 60s, they suffered from organochlorine pesticides that essentially both made them super kind of infertile, but then their eggs were super weak. Their eggshells got super thin. And so when they'd go and sit on their eggs, they'd smush them.
That's
I know.
So sad.
I know. And the bald eagles in America actually are suffering something similar and have suffered, you know, similar stuff. So it is typical kind of for birds of prey to suffer from things. I know, guys, I know, I'm really sorry. But I think it's really important that we talk about stuff like this and make, you know, people aware. I know most of you guys and you all are like solid humans. And so just knowing like, dude, that actually is going on, it's really important. So then we can raise awareness and hopefully stop pesticides like that. Friends still being used.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
but on the good news, they're making a recovery. Yay!
That's good. That's good. Honestly, I hate humans sometimes. I wish I could be a badger or a lion or something.
You'd be a honey badger.
Yeah, okay. For sure. Getting all my worms.
Now I feel really bad because the next story ain't gonna get any better for the next animal. But friends, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with Emma and I from Fan City Central, discussing the amazing animal icons that represent the Hogwarts houses. We've covered the Asiatic lion in comparison to the Gryffindor house. We've covered the badgers with regards to Hufflepuffs, and the Ravenclaw. Just now we looked at the golden eagle. And last but certainly not least, for you Slytherins waiting in the wings, waiting in the audience, Miss Emma, could you please tell us the characteristics of the Slytherin house, please?
Oh, if I must, Chels. No, I'm kidding. So our founder, Salazar Slytherin, what a guy, what a guy. Values ambition, cunning, heritage, and resourcefulness. And your ghost is the Bloody Baron, which again, I take issue with, but that's a ghost story for another time. You guys correspond to the element of water, which I actually thought was interesting.
Ooh.
I guess because water can be pretty powerful, like when you think about the ocean and the tides and everything. So that I found interesting. And then you guys, your common room is under the Black Lake and full of like dark stones and like near the dungeons, you guys know. But I thought it was an interesting habitat. I'm not sure if our animal has a similar habitat, but I thought that was interesting. Everything is very dark there. And then obviously you guys know that Slytherin built the Chamber of Secrets and he speaks parcel mouth. Parcel tongue, yes. So those are all of our fun facts. Honestly, I like some of the Slytherin traits. I feel like I'm also very ambitious too. I think it just depends how you use your ambition and cunning. If you use your powers for good or not. And then, of course, the house emblem is the snake. So, Shelves, tell us about which snake you've chosen.
That was very diplomatic for a Gryffindor, I must say.
I try. Sometimes we try, you know.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, I must give a quick shout out to my friend Cole, who's just joined us in the chat. Hi, Cole. I hope you're well. Guys, Cole is a fantastic content creator on animal stuff. And Jack, you're very kind by saying you're learning a lot. But I encourage you, if you love animals, check out Cole's channel. He does some fantastic stuff in collaborations with collections around the world, which is fantastic during these times when you can't travel. But he manages to make it work, and you'll learn a lot and learn about a lot of cool random animals, like we kind of are covering today, actually. And spoilers for the future. My friend Emma might find this intriguing with regards to a certain Dark Knight. In the future, friends, spoilers, we are working on an upcoming collaboration to celebrate Bat Awareness Day. So I wonder what superhero and animal we'll be talking about then.
Honestly, that's my favorite thing about joining you on your channel is how much I learn, because I feel like it's so true. Like, the more you talk about this, especially with the animals that need conservation help, it's not always top of the news, and it should be. Like, yes. The more we know, the more we can help them.
Rightly so. Yes, Roland figured us out. And he also mentioned the water element is also powerful compared to Pokemon. Yes, that is very true. Again, another sad shout out this Friday, guys. I'm going to be discussing a very, very strong water type Pokemon with a collaboration with a lot of our mutual friends. His name is Choppa, and he does some cakes. So keep your eyes out for that one. But anyways, I could get distracted because I've met a lot of amazing people, and we're doing so many fun collaborations, and I can't help but be excited. Were we just buffering to make the Slytherins wait longer? I feel like I'm just buying time.
Yeah,
it's no big deal. No big deal. But guys, we are going to look into the house of Slytherin and figure out what serpent or snake represents the Slytherin house. Now, as we were just discussing, and many of you know, I like to highlight animals that may not get the attention that they deserve. And with this, I would like to present to you, Slytherins, Alice and Ken, that your house serpent is actually the Santa Catalina rattlesnake. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I went specific, friends. I went super specific. But hear me out. Okay, so sad stuff first, right? The Santa Catalina Island rattlesnake is critically endangered. So the IUCN Red List. So earlier on in the chat, Cole will know this very well. The IUCN Red List is essentially this governing body that determines, the ranking of animals and, where they are on the rate to extinction. They could be extinct in the wild, near threatened, vulnerable, all these different categories. They are the big kahunas in charge of determining those levels. And it's a super intense practice. Critically endangered, guys, means like they are right on the edge, literally, of becoming extinct, but not extinct. So that this is, you guys are 1 in a million. As Slytherins, you are truly, right? Yes, I see. Yeah, you had to Google that. Yeah, that's what I love to do, is get you guys learning new animals that you never heard of. So they are critically endangered, and they are also endemic to the island of Santa Catalina, which is in the Gulf of California. Now, I know you guys are thinking, but you're Californian, you're totally biased. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But you should be grateful, because as a Gryffindor, I went for a species that's near and dear to my heart, because I love you guys.
See, there you go. All the love. It's just love here.
It is. And we're coming together. The houses, we're coming together for the purpose of raising awareness of amazing animals. That's what it's all about. But so endemic, when I say endemic, I should say that is the only place where they are found. Like the Asiatic lions of, where they were in the Gir forest, that is the only place where they're found. So as an island, they're super vulnerable to introduced predators like feral cats, And they're really vulnerable to any kind of changes in their environment because they are only found on that one little island. So that's what endemic means. We throw that word around quite frequently. Now, they are slender for rattlesnake size comparatively. They're about medium-sized rattlesnakes. But the craziest thing about these snakes, actually, there's two. Firstly, that they are unique among rattlesnakes because they don't actually have a functioning rattle.
Oh.
Yeah. And when I think of Slytherin, I think of them, as quite unique. They really stand out. And so as a Santa Catalina rattlesnake, with their not functioning rattle per se, it looks, because like the base of their tail, right, the button, as it's it falls off. So it won't actually, when the snake sheds its skin, because every so often, every couple of weeks they shed their skin, some rattlesnakes, the little button will stay, and that will, over the course of time, will become the rattle. But because when the Santa Ana, that's my hometown, when the Santa Catalina rattlesnake sheds their skin, the button falls off. So it doesn't have the opportunity to grow into a rattle, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So they don't actually, when they shed their skin, they lose the little button that would become the rattle. So essentially, they don't have a functioning rattle. So even though they're rattlesnakes, they don't have the rattle.
That's so interesting. I didn't even know that's how a rattlesnake got its rattle. Very cool.
Right? But the other crazy thing is they are boreal. They're very, very, they can climb up in the trees. They kind of own this island. And that's another thing why I thought actually for this snake to be a Slytherin is because I feel Slytherins, in the best sense, friends, because one of them is a family member. You guys, when you walk into a room, people know you're a Slytherin, right? And say on that island, the snake pretty much owns that island. And they're like, yes. And that's also another reason why scientists think they don't have a functioning rattle, because they evolved because they don't actually have any native predators on that island. So they rule the roost. So why have a rattle to warn potential predators?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're the top of the pack. They don't need it anymore.
Exactly. So if you don't need it, lose it kind of a thing, which is a no-nonsense attitude that I think a lot of Slytherins have. But they use the trees to kind of hunt, getting back to the boreal side. But not really. They still stick to land mammals, little land rodents to eat. But they use the trees more to kind of thermoregulate because Gulf of California, it does get a bit hot on this island. And so they climb up in the trees to kind of cool off. But hunting wise, because that was a whole other study, and I can put the link to it in the description down below. But people were like, scientists were looking at it going, what? They use trees. Does that mean they ate birds? And they assume they ate birds. But then this study went and found actually 70% of this snake's diet was one little mouse. And the name actually kind of sounds like Slytherin if you say it funny. It's Selvin's mouse, which doesn't really sound like Slytherin at all. But alas, that's the mouse that they eat.
Wow. I feel like they probably just climb the trees to be dramatic, to be honest.
We were doing so well with being diplomatic.
I mean, yeah, like they're just like, yo, I want to see my land. I want to rule over everything. If they can, why not? Why not?
Oh my gosh, Ken, it is Catalina Island, yes, but it's a different Catalina Island. Not to like deflate the awesomeness, but yeah, that Catalina Island is my Catalina Island. That's off the coast of California. Santa Catalina Island, where these snakes are, is further south, but it's still, yeah.
Okay, I love Grace's comment here. Shelby, if you ever make merch, it just needs to have a big quote. This is alas.
You know me, most posh, or posh, as I should say.
I mean, I would buy the sweater. I would. Yeah, should
dot. Wait, that would be Maui. Maui, are you still here? Maui's still there. Maui's not impressed. We're not talking about him anymore. It is going to be Maui merchandise, by the way. My sister, Lindsay Marie, if you're watching, you shouldn't be watching. You should be drawing Maui in my safari hat. Don't even get me started. I asked her like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, can you draw me my cat in a safari hat? Yeah, sure, okay.
Is she a Slytherin?
tough one. I feel like she could be. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, she's a Slytherin.
I feel like she's either a Slytherin or a Gryffindor. It's one of the two.
Yeah, one of those two. Gosh, but is there anything else that comes to mind? Yes, there is. Okay, Slytherin. Speaking of like that, confident, that ambitious attitude. Some snakes, a lot of snake species tend to hide, right? Because they're a bit more nocturnal. They don't want to get really fussed by predators, whatever. But because the I keep wanting to say Santa Ana, the Santa Catalina island rattlesnake does not need to hide because, as we know, they don't have any predators on their island. But that just makes it so they don't actually have to hide. And I just find it so funny that this snake is so unique. They, climb trees. They don't need to hide. They don't have a rattle. That just speaks Slytherin to me. They don't need, if they don't need you, whatever. I'm going to continue being ambitious. I'm going to continue climbing my trees, doing what I want. I don't need to hide. I don't have any predators. Bring it on. That speaks to me, Slytherin. That was the rest of my argument.
Pretty much dead on, I think. And you know what? It's healthy to have a little bit of a house rivalry. I mean, we love you guys, but you're like our siblings. We gotta combat every once in a while. So
yes. We gotta, because I feel like the houses are almost like paired. Like I would say, if I had to be between houses, I feel like I could be Harry in that situation where the hat would be put on my head and you'd be like, I think Slytherin. I'd be like, dude, no, I'm a Gryffindor. But I could see like why, yeah. And I feel like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaws have those similar natures. I mean, obviously you could be Gryffindor Puff, Griffin Puff, or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's similar. I feel like it's just the way that we deal with things is different. Like the way that we communicate and the way that we go about it, but we do have similar traits. And that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, to wrap up, because we have covered all 4 houses and their animal icons, I would like to hear, and feel free to answer in the chat as well, I would love to hear, since we're talking Harry Potter, what your favorite book was. Was it book 1, 2, 3, or 4? You can be controversial and throw in, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, or, The Cursed Child, but...
Oh, no. Cursed Child is not canon in my head. Oh God, yeah. My favorite book is a tie between Prisoner of Azkaban and The Deathly Hallows. Second half of Deathly Hallows. Those two are by far my favorites. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite movie as well. I love the Marauders. I love the Quidditch. Even though we didn't get that scene in the movies when he is moderating because they got the firebolt. Such a good one. And then Deathly Hallows because the Battle of Hogwarts was so good, which again they ruined in the movies, in my opinion. Not a fan of some of the later films and what they do with the script, but just so good. I love that. I love the Great Hall scene and fantastic. And also, shout out to Book Jenny, who's one of my favorite characters, because I think she was done dirty in the movies, but she is a fantastically badass Gryffindor in the books. But what about you?
I love it. I have
strong opinions about the movies.
There is so much love for book 3, but I got distracted by Jack possibly turning to the dark side, as Ken suggested, considering he's a Slytherin. I see lots of love for Prisoner of Azkaban, which brings me so much joy because that too is my favorite one. And if you had like all my books lined up, you could see, obviously, without a doubt, it is Prisoner of Azkaban because it's the most loved, most read. The time travel. I don't know I think it was the time travel, now that I consider, because I'm a big Doctor Who fan, obviously Back to the Future. Time travel can be messy, but she made it not messy.
Yeah, I love that all 3 of them got to shine in that, and we got the Marauders, and it was so great all around, and it's also one of my favorite films. So Ken, you got to read the books, my man. You missing so much story and not reading the books.
See, Ken's admitted that, but I'm pretty sure Alice, I don't know if she's still here. I think Alice is in the same boat as well. But alas, time to get cracking on and read. If you're going to read anyone and you know the kind of the story already, might as well start with book 3.
Yes, yeah. Book 1 and 2 are exactly the same as the films. Book 3, fairly close, but it's just a really good book to read. I would jump in at book 3 and read up.
Because it's not too long either. Whereas if we're like, Ken, read book 4, Ken would be like, what?
Or audiobooks, there's so much story.
Oh, yeah, because doesn't Stephen Fry do the audiobook?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. This was so much fun. Thank you, Shelby, for having me on your channel.
Oh, no worries. And do you want to share what you have coming up? Any upcoming projects before we head off?
I actually do not at the moment. I need to be making more content. I started my business and it's been quite busy. I do think that I will probably be doing some reactions to Nancy Drew coming up.
Yeah.
In the future, which will be good. And then a few more collaborations with, I have this game night crew, as we call ourselves, which is a bunch of YouTubers, and we do like live game nights and we stream like Among Us and things like that. So probably some of that coming up.
Oh, that sounds like fun. And even if you're not bringing out new content, friends, if you love Netflix, Harry Potter, any stuff, you have tons of videos on your channel. So don't undersell yourself. Definitely go back and check those out. You know, those interviews that I mentioned earlier in the beginning, you know, with some of the actors of the Netflix series and movies and stuff. Check her channel out, and I'll put the link to it below. But Fan City Central for Miss Emma's channel. And yeah, thank you, Ken, Jack, Emma, Alice, Grace, Roland. Oh my goodness, the whole crew was here. It was fantastic. And Miss Layla as well. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us and keeping us entertained with your comments. And oh my gosh, it's been a blast, friends. And hopefully I will see you guys later on. Friday's video is a collaboration with my friend Choppa. And like I said earlier, it's going to be on a very strong and powerful water type Pokemon. And I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever. But alas, oh my God, alas. But friends, it's time for us to head on off. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Emma, for joining me. And I'll catch you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Maui says bye, too. Even though he's not looking. Bye.